Kelly Sadler.
Joining me now, Congressman Steve Cohen of Tennessee. With a good morning to you, sir, and thank you for joining me on a Sunday here. The White House is reportedly upset that the derogatory remarks about Senator John McCain were leaked to the press. What about what was actually said? I mean, what is your reaction to how they've handled this?
Well, John McCain is an American hero, and he's been disparaged by so many Trump supporters, it's just astonishing. I have tweeted about my respect for John McCain and his heroic actions as a Navy ship pilot and as a senator, and some of the response from the Trump people was disgusting, calling him a traitor and saying all kind of terrible things about him. It's amazing, you know, Trump called him, said he wasn't a hero because he got captured. Said something to Sam Johnson about it. Congressman Johnson was also captured, and I can't repeat what Sam said. I did tell John McCain, and he loved it. He said, that's Sam. John McCain's a star, and for them to be concerned about the leaks and not the substance is just a sad thing, and it's the same thing with the investigation. They're more concerned about the leaks than the fact that there's hacking going on with Russia, that there was a foreign power that possibly was colluded with, certainly had contacts with Trump people that interfered with our elections, and all the connections. You know, there's been 1 year from Watergate. President Nixon said this needs to stop. 1 year from the beginning of the Mueller investigation. Pence says this needs to stop. Watergate had plumbers. These people are concerned about leaks. They ought to have a plumbers unit.
Can I ask you, though, before we move on to other things, do you think this kind of thing happens in other White Houses? We just don't hear about it. These kind of just off-color, really, in this case, super offensive remarks. But is that the case?
No, I think that there's a group of people in the White House that see it from the top, that disparaging remarks and remarks taking to discredit people and to emphasize weaknesses or tragedies they may be experiencing is okay. I don't think you saw that from Barack Obama. Barack Obama was a class act. This man, the President of the United States, is not. He's despicable. He's talked about people with disabilities, reporters with disabilities in a mocking way. He's talked about people from foreign countries. He's talked about women. He's talked about every subset demographic group that you can in a disparaging, nasty way, except for white supremacists. And he's yet to honor James Shaw, one of the great heroes in American culture now, who went to the Waffle House and saved people with his bare hands, kind of like Davy Crockett, and what Trump said he'd have done at Parkland Hospital, and Trump has done nothing. He hasn't called him. He had to invite him to the White House, and I think it has to do with the fact that Mr. Shaw is not of the race that Mr. Trump appeals to.
Let's get to the subject of impeachment, because you certainly led the charge in many ways. We're talking about the White House. You have mentioned the Mueller investigation. When it regards to what you have done here, Republicans control the chamber. So do you think that it is a wise move? Nancy Pelosi's been urging Democrats try to tamp down a bit on the impeachment talk because she's afraid it's not going to do anything to turn voters out for the midterms, and ultimately says it could help Republicans. So what are your thoughts on that and the slight pushback now?
Leader Pelosi is a very, very outstanding politician and official. I have great respect for her. I agree with her that it's not going to happen with the Republican majority, and the Republicans have turned blindly against what is obviously violations of the Emoluments Clause, what appears to be, could be proven and put out by Mueller of obstruction of justice and other violations that could lead to impeachment, but the Republicans won't do it. So it's not going to happen in this Congress. But I think it's important that we don't just totally not speak about the 600-pound orange elephant in the middle of the room. And the actions that he's taken that have shredded our Constitution and the sense of decency that you're supposed to have from the President of the United States should be talked about by people who have been elected to uphold the Constitution. The American people should see it. Now, the fact is he's got 40% of the American public on his side. It's obvious. He can tell them anything and they'll believe it. He'll tell them John McCain's not a hero and they'll mock him. They will go for anything. Bone spurs, 5 deferments, and they mock a man who spent, I think, 6 years in a prison in North Vietnam. This is just amazing. But he can do it. They'll probably bring up Nancy Pelosi being Speaker of the House. They'll use that as issue. That's not a valid issue either, because Nancy Pelosi is an excellent tactician, and if we win, she'd be a great great speaker and get a great agenda passed, as she did from 2007 to 2011 with Barack Obama. It was Nancy Pelosi that drove most of that occurred.
Tennessee Democrat Representative Steve Cohen, it's good to see you as always. Thank you for your time on this Sunday.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I sure wish mine was here with me today.
I'm sure you do. Well, I know she's proud of you, so thank you very much for your time.